I spent a week reading an excerpt of 350 recently compiled claims of discrimination against LGBTQ people in Michigan. Some of them so egregious, I hope that everyone in this room thinks that Senate Bill 4 should stop them, including the gay guy who was kicked out of a Coney because the owner didn't want in his restaurant. This amendment gives that restaurant owner the religious freedom to do it all over again. First, I want to say, I wholly reject that this bill promotes, quote, as was mentioned, hostility to people of faith, or that it pits religious people against LGBTQ people.
We should not be forced to do things against our will that violate our religious faith.
We should all be able to agree that the state should never be able to discriminate against religious conscience. I offer this amendment to, 1, build a bridge to real inclusiveness in Michigan. 2, to stop any hostility towards people of faith. And 3, to bring Michigan in line with other states and their clearly stated protections for religious observation.
I am a gay person with sincerely held religious beliefs. There is no conflict between my sexual orientation and my religion. I'm saddened that there is in your religion, but you have that right in this country to practice that. All of us with sincerely held religious beliefs have long been protected within our respective religious institutions, and Elliot Larson does not disrupt that. Religion itself is a protected class in Elliot Larson, but the act cannot compel clergy at a church or a mosque to marry a Jewish couple. Marital status is a protected class in Elliot Larson, but the act cannot compel a Catholic priest to marry someone who's been previously divorced. This amendment, however, allows anyone to deny any good or service available in an open market to any person, to fire them or evict them, as long as their religious orientation or identity is the reason. But if you go down that route with this amendment, you're going to find a lot more issues than just with LGBTQ people. Sex is a protected class in Elliot Larson, but the book of Numbers says women cannot be counted in a census. It says their husbands and fathers can overturn any vow or oath that they take. Are you prepared to provide that religious exemption in this amendment to exclude women from full utilization of services in the state of Michigan? Weight is a protected class in Elliot Larson, but Leviticus kosher laws are clear about certain kind of fats and animals that cannot be consumed. Imagine if I went after pork eaters the way that you go after gay people. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle. Some of you look like pork eaters. This amendment provides me with the religious exemption to hire and fire and evict based on how I perceive your weight. You can take any protected class in this act and find a religious text, not just from the Old Testament, for someone to use, even out of context, to discriminate against others. And clearly, some of you still want to use one verse in Leviticus to discriminate against LGBTQ people. But if you are truly sincere, a true sincere adherent to Leviticus, and you let it define how you treat other people, let it instead be the verse that Rabbi Akiva, the ancient Jewish scholar and chief of the sages, said was the greatest principle of the Torah. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, love thy neighbor as thyself, that it is forbidden to do to others what you would not want done to yourself. Treat others how you'd want to be treated. I studied the Torah in Hebrew school. You're not going to challenge me on the Old Testament. Just the fact that some of you can forget that simple principle, that's what some might call sacrilegious. I urge a no vote, and I request my remarks be printed in the Journal.
Without objection, so ordered.